This video here gonna blow your mind. How the government once again unleashed millions of diseased ticks on Americans. But it's gonna blow your mind what these ticks do. Grab your popcorn and your soda. You're rocking with Jimmy again this morning with another video about these ticks that the government unleashed on the American peoples. Let's go.
So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat.
The Lone Star tick. If it bites you, you'll be allergic to meat. Wow. They got all types of shit going on in them labs, y'all. Facts. They got all types of shit going on in them labs, y'all. A tick that'll bite you that make you allergic to meat. Damn. Let's go.
Sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering.
The CIA is and Fauci. They were the head. Fauci was the head of the DARPA's bioweapons program, and the big thing is you create these viruses and then you create a vaccine to counter them, and that's what COVID kind of turned out to be. But there was more to it than that, but that's definitely what it was. And so they've also invented, it's come to everybody's attention, and that Lyme disease was also invented in a lab and put in ticks. And as Dylan Radigan told us on this show, he was bitten by a tick that made him allergic.
Lyme disease, a lot of pets get that. You can probably transform that to the owner of the pets and shit. That Lyme disease, that was a big thing at one time.
Allergic to red meat. And that's another bioweapon. So so if you're in a war and the soldiers get bitten by a tick that makes them allergic to red meat, they get violently ill when they try to eat, and then they die. And then so that's how you win that war. So I just want to show you this because there's a lot of stuff happening right now with these ticks. And this is from Tucker Carlson's network.
The cases of Lyme disease are going up. The CDC estimates there are 500,000 cases a year. That's on average 1,300 people a day.
Where do we think this came from?
Lyme disease wasn't a problem till the peak of the biological weapons program in the U.S., the mid-'70s. These three freaky diseases showed up. Lyme arthritis, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and then there was a parasite called Babesia.
So you have a cluster of these previously rare diseases right across from the U.S. government's biological weapons testing facility. Is that what you're saying?
This is the perfect stealth weapon. It's poor man's nuke.
It's hard to digest all of this. It's just so evil.
We can't control nature. And if we're going to play God and make these new germs inside ticks, there could be blowback, unintended consequences, and that's what I believe could happen.
So that's a definite. There's no...
Yeah. It was definitely like them big flies they just came out with. I forgot the name. The lantern flies or some shit like that. Where the fuck they come from? You go to step on them motherfuckers, they fly away. What kind of disease they packing?
But what people are reporting recently is that this has been ramped up and that they're being dropped in fields and farmland across America, millions of ticks in boxes. And here's a bit of a video of one of them.
I'm out here mushroom hunting and I found, there it is right there, the tick box. I'm not going to touch it because there's ticks all over that thing. I know there is. Look at them crawling out of it. Millions of them. You can see.
So that's what people are reporting, not just this one report, but all over the place. People with horses who take care of horses saying we've never seen anything like these ticks. And here is someone saying that they think it's coming. They caught a helicopter dropping this stuff. Let's watch.
I have no clue who these people are, or what they're doing, but they're on our fucking top field. Good fuck. What are y'all even doing?
This Just like chemtrails, when they be spraying the air with chemtrails, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know what's in that shit they be spraying. It be diseases and shit. Same shit they used in biological weapon warfare. Francis Quest Welsing talked about that. If we can spray these motherfuckers and shit, get them to start acting like mooks. She said that.
Literally in our top field.
So you think I ain't bullshit? You think I'm bullshitting? Let's listen to Francis Quest Welsing real quick. Here she is here, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on.
Have even been looking at why do we seem to have an epidemic in homosexuality. Now the CIA and the military, it came out in the newspaper that they were designing chemical weapons where they could spray it on the enemy forces, and the enemy soldiers would begin to want to have sex with each other, and then they would be defeated. Now, if somebody is thinking to create such a chemical or chemicals, I say perhaps they have already deployed it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Chemtrails, now the TICKS, what other type
If
of
they
shit
have
use?
chemicals and plastics that they understand are already affecting the sexuality of fish and frogs and causing fish and frogs to become castrated and the males to become effeminized, why wouldn't they deploy it?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like I'm saying, anybody who thinks HIV/AIDS is some accident that fell out of the sky, I say, wake up. See, wake up. My position is that it's biological warfare until proven otherwise.
Facts.
Until proven otherwise. It makes sense to them. It makes sense to them to do whatever damage or harm to the black population because we are the population that is most feared. There's a book that is called Breaking Rank. Reading is more important than watching TV. Say it again. Reading is more important than watching TV. Do you see? Because if you know how to read, there's all kinds of material in books and in newspapers. Like people used to say, if they don't want black people to see it, put it in a book.
That part.
Say if they don't want black people to see it, put it in a book. See, and all we have to do is go back into our history when we were under formal enslavement, where if you were caught trying to read, they would beat you, if not kill you. Because with reading, you could get information. You can go in a bookstore, you can go in a library, you can go to a newsstand. See, I encourage buy 3 or 4 newspapers every day.
See what they talking
and
about.
See what the newspapers are communicating to the people that are considered to be the important people. And it is not us.
Just wanted to play a little bit of that. Now that you got a little concept of that, let's continue with the TICKS they unleashed on the American peoples.
Oh, there they go.
So that was back in two times they made that trip to that farm. And I just want to let people know, in case you think this is crazy, Robert Malone, who was the doctor we brought on this show at the beginning of COVID, and everything he said about the vaccine and COVID turned out to be 100% correct, which is why the establishment, Big Pharma bought media, had to discredit him. But he owned several vaccine patents, and he developed the mRNA platform, not the COVID vaccine, but the platform that it was built on. And so He's confirmed that radioactive Lone Star ticks were released upon Americans, and over the last several years, there's been a surge in tick-borne meat allergies from, you guessed it, the Lone Star tick. This man in the video is a WEF bioethicist named Matthew Lau, who in 2016 talked about making humans allergic to red meat through human engineering so they wouldn't eat meat so much. So I just want to play this for you.
So one is that people eat too much meat, right? And if they were to cut down on their consumption on meat, then they would it would actually really help the planet. But people are not willing to give up meat. Yeah, some people will be willing to, but other people, they may be willing to, but they have a weakness of will. They say, wow, this steak is just too juicy. I can't do it. I'm one of those, by the way. So, but so here's the thought, right? So it turns out that we know a lot about, we have these intolerance to for example, I have milk intolerance, and some people are intolerant to crayfish. So possibly we can use human engineering to make it the case that we're intolerant to certain kinds of meat, to certain kinds of bovine proteins. And there's actually analogs of this in life. There's this thing called the Lone Star tick, where if it bites you, you'll become allergic to meat. I can sort of describe the mechanism. So that's something that we can do through human engineering. We can kind of possibly address really big world problems through human engineering.
So you don't have to agree with this. Climate change is a scam, and it's used to do stuff like that to people.
Yeah,
and it's there it's a total scam. People have no idea, and so this seems to be our own government, and being controlled by an international global billionaire class, the WEF globalists. And those are the people who really run things. Your congressmen don't run things. Your president has a boss, which is obvious through this Iran war. And some of the bosses are people like Bill Gates, right? So now Bill Gates funded research into genetically engineered cattle ticks. Now 450,000 Americans have red meat allergies from alpha-gal syndrome caused by tick bites. And I like this meme. How does a guide to get to block the sun, cover your organic fruit in film, insert fake meat into the supply chain, bioengineer mosquitoes to release vaccines without anyone's consent or approval, and not be called a supervillain? So what the hell is going on, Larry? Why is our own government and the billionaire class at war with people? What is the point of this? Them doing this, besides bioweapons to be used in war? Why are they inflicting it on our own population?
Well, again, it gets to the heart. You always go back to the money. I always say follow the money. And, the fact that this entire industry that's been built around, we can't figure out, is it global warming or is it global cooling or is it...
But Bill Gates talked about depopulation of the world because he said it was too many people in the world, so they want to depopulate the world, right? So they rolling out all these foolishness technology that they've been working on for a long time in these labs, y'all. That's what's happening.
Global climate change, and say, I grew up recognizing that, climate changes. It's a dynamic system. It's not a static system. But this attempt to engineer it, and let's add another dimension to this. Why did the CIA and the Department of Defense have over 20 biolabs in Ukraine?
You hear that?
What were they doing? And again, this...
Who was connected with Ukraine, ladies and gentlemen? Who funded Ukraine in that Russian war? The Biden-Harris administration. Class.
It goes along with this line. You want to... If you can genetically engineer things that it can damage a target a particular population. Now, again, the whole premise on this
population
is
are they talking
get people
about?
to stop eating meat, then there's less cows, less cow farts, less, supposedly, reducing cow flatulence will improve the climate. It's such nonsense. But this is where you get the people with these enormous fortunes are able to fund operations like this.
Foolishness.
That, you know, it sounds like something out of a Hollywood script, but the evidence,
Killing people.
the evidence supports it, and that's where you have to come back and say, what the hell was the CIA doing in Ukraine?
Right.
With the Department of Defense? You know, you don't need biolabs. That was never, that's only if you're conducting an operation that has an ultimate goal of turning those bioagents into something offensive.
Come see.
Let's go.
One issue that really grabbed me as urgent were issues related to population.
In 1998, Dr. Zabin became the founding director of the Bill and Melinda Gates Institute for Population Control.
Dr. Zabin became the founding director of the Bill and Melinda Gates Institute for Population Control.
We see a lot of things that are going very well, things like reducing childhood death and
Producing a child to death. What the hell is he talking about? God damn it. Listen to what he's saying, y'all.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare,
New vaccines they've been rolling out on the peoples. Continue.
reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The problem is that the population is growing the fastest where people are less able to deal with it. So it's in the very poorest places that you're going to have a tripling in population.
The poorest population is what, ladies and gentlemen? The African American community. That's what they always say, right? Wow. Let's go.
By 2050. And so their ability to feed, educate, provide jobs, stability, protect the environment in those locations mean they're faced with an almost impossible problem. Here we can see a chart that looks at the total world population over the last several hundred years. And at first glance, this is a bit scary. We go from less than 1 billion in 1800, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.4 billion where we are today is happening even faster. So Melinda and I wondered whether providing new medicines and keeping children alive, would that create more of a population problem?
And what the developing world does not need is more children.
And I think that was the biggest aha to Bill and me when we got into this work, is we asked ourselves, of course, the same hard-nosed question you'd ask, which is, if you get into this work and you start to save these children, will women just keep overpopulating the world? And thank goodness the converse is absolutely true.
This is a very important question to get right, because it was absolutely key for me. When our foundation first started up, it was focused on reproductive health. That was the main thing we did, because I thought, population growth in poor countries is the biggest problem they face. You've got to help mothers who want to limit family size have the tools and education to do that. And I thought that's the only thing that really counts. Is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade-off in medical costs? But that's called the death panel. And you're not supposed to have that discussion. But today, the greatest risk of global catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this.
What's that, COVID?
If anything kills over 10 million people in the next...
What's that, COVID, y'all? Huh? Look, if anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, right? What is it?
2 decades. It's most likely to be a highly infectious virus.
Wow. 7 years ago. If you see this, it's too late.
And see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Is that love for you or hate? What are you charging me with hate? What are you charging me with hate, teacher? Here a few weeks ago, every rabbit-blood-like man jumped up after me, calling me a hate teacher. And for 25 years, I've been teaching you, you never called me a hate teacher until a white man called me one. After being beat, walked upon, spit upon, lynched, buried, weighted down in chains and balls of iron, sold from one plantation to another for 3 long centuries. Now overnight, you love your slave master so well that you defy God to even talk about removing them from the planet. Or that the white man is the devil, even though God says so. Don't you say so? Because I love it. Love it, mister. Love it, but go back and read. The Bible says that the devil will be destroyed
and all of his followers. God damn it.